Howdy, 7th grade. Today we're going to be talking about how to solve some problems with that thing we learned about yesterday, the direct variation. So we kind of just learned what it was yesterday, and today we're going to go over into how we can use it to solve some really interesting problems. So I want to start with a simpler problem, which would be that if you want to go to this local concert, so I have a local concert, it's going to be great. Here's my guitar. It's an awfully drawn guitar, but that's okay. And if I bring, let me find this. If I bring 6 people, it's going to be $78. 6 people, it is $78. I also know, since it wouldn't make any sense otherwise, that this is a direct variation relationship, which means that we're going to start off with $0 for 0 people. I don't have to pay if I'm not going to the concert, and it's going to go up the same amount for each person. So my question is going to be, how much do I have to pay for 10 people? So how much is 10 people? So what I'm going to do is I know that all direct variation things look the same. And how they look is what we talked about yesterday. We have the y equals kx. So y equals kx. So I know that 6 people is going to be $78. So my 2 variables I'm talking about, let me do this not in that red. That red was very dark. Try this color. So I have 2 variables, which are going to be how many people are going. And my second variable is going to be the amount of money spent. And the way this is going to work is that the amount of money is going to be equal to some number times the number of people. And that number we're going to call k. So k is going to be what's called the constant of proportionality. But it's just that thing that we multiply by is really what it is. So I have one example of this, and I know that 6 people for my example is $78. So where I see people, I can plug in 6 times k equals amount of dollars, 78. So if I want to figure out what k is, I see right now k is being multiplied by 6. So to get rid of the 6, we're going to do the opposite of multiplication, which is division. Divide both sides by 6 here, and I'll end up getting that 13 equals k. So now that I have that figured out, I'm actually going to put this back into my first equation, which is going to tell me that the amount of money is going to be equal to 13 times the number of people. So going from there, I know now I want 10 people going. So money is going to be equal to 13 times 10. 13 times 10, I hope, is $130. Just like that, we're good to go. So we can keep going with this. A lot of the problems are going to look very, very similar. So if I drive, for example, we'll do one more. There's going to be, I can drive 75 miles in 1.5 hours. And then I want to know, how long does it take to drive 100 miles? Well, I know right now that my 2 variables are going to be miles and hours. And we're going at the same speed the whole time, so we know that this is directly proportional because we're going the same speed, and we're going to start off at 0 miles at 0 time because you can't go anywhere with 0 time. So my 2 variables here are going to be miles and hours. So I can say that the amount of miles is going to be equal to something times the number of hours. And then I look back up at the beginning of my problem, and I see I can drive 75 miles in 1.5 hours. Plug that in, 75 equals k times 1.5. Again, this k is multiplying. Opposite of multiplication is division, so we're going to divide both sides by 1.5. 1.5 cancels out there. 75 divided by 1.5 is the same thing as 75 divided by 3/2, which is 75 times 2/3, which is going to be 50. So what that tells me is 50 is equal to k. Once I have my k, I'm going to plug it back in up here. So now I have miles equals 50 times hours. And now I need to figure out what the question was again. I believe we were looking for how long it takes to drive 100 miles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in 100 to my miles. 100 equals 50 times hours. Now we want to figure out what the hours is, so we have to get it by itself. There's this 50 next to it that's multiplying. Opposite of multiplication is division, so we're going to divide by the 50. 50 divided by 50 is 1, that cancels out. We divided by 50 on one side, so we divide on the other, and 100 divided by 50 is 2. So the number of hours this is going to take is going to be 2, and in 2 hours we will have gone 100 miles, good to go. So all of these problems are going to be very, very similar like that. There are only 3 problems in the practice set, 3 whole problems. I think y'all can do them. So I will see those tomorrow as well with notes. Y'all have a blessed day. Toodaloo.